Yeah. So I moved to Los Angeles kind of shortly after I went to college for something completely unrelated, and but kind of always wanted to get more serious about music. So I kind of did what a lot of people did. I didn't know what to do, so I moved to Los Angeles and started briefly in a music school out there, and then decided it wasn't for me. And started playing in bands, and I think like a lot of engineers got started, you don't have the money to pay somebody to record you, so somebody in the band picks up the slack, and that's kind of how I got into it. And I was really fortunate very early on. I don't know, this was I don't know, I want to say 10 to 12 years ago, I guess. Very early on, as I was getting into recording, I decided, as it turns out to be rather fortuitously, to get an internship at a local recording studio in town. It was Mad Dog Studios at the time. And I got really lucky, I guess you could say, because I was able to essentially intern under a bunch of different really cool, interesting people. Dave Bianco in particular, who worked on a bunch of old Black Crowes stuff. He did the Tom Petty Wildflowers record. He was in Mad Dog Studios on a regular basis working on projects, and I got to assist with a lot of his stuff. And then same for Sylvia Massey, who produced and engineered the first two Tool albums, which I was a huge fan of at the time. And she was around there working on projects all the time, so I got to help out. So I was really fortunate. I was around both of them very early on, so I really was able to learn a lot quick. But then I actually decided that I wanted to focus more on the music playing side of things, and the recording thing was taking up so much time that I left that job. Somewhat regrettably now at this point, looking back, because it really was an amazing experience, and to get to work with those people. And the thing is, as you probably know, those kind of internships there aren't many of them anymore. Most of the big studios, obviously have closed up their shop, and there's just not a lot of opportunities to do something like that anymore, even if you live in Los Angeles or New York. So I was really fortunate to, get that learning experience early on. In some ways I wish I could do it still again, because I was a total beginner at that time. So I think probably 70% of what they were doing was over my head at that point, honestly. But it still was a really amazing experience. But that's kind of how I really got started. And then I went about recording a bunch of my bands that I was in at the time, and, slowly started, doing it for other people as well. And when I moved to Chicago a couple of years ago. I kind of just got tired of LA, and it was seemed like a circus to me after a while, and so I moved back to Chicago a couple of years ago, and really been focusing full time on recording, and just recently kind of started playing music again, but mostly have been focusing on recording here in Chicago. That was a long answer.